Okay. Okay. So anyway, so we will see that court record and then we'll get right. Now, one of the things that I'm thinking about is I'm getting the idea that they have here at UC Berkeley, they have some sort of data hub for all of this stuff. School. Okay. You're using North Carolina. Okay. Well, okay, I'll find that.
I forgot to show you I had my socks on yesterday. You're live on the panel.
Did all the name tags disappear?
They did. Do you want one?
No.
Okay, they're back there. I could scoop it out for you.
Oh, you go.
Sorry, they're starting the panel. I'm gonna mute myself. Sorry for chatting over here. Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to get started then. Hello, everybody. My name is Florence Hudson, and I'm the Executive Director for the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub at Columbia University, one of 4 big data hubs around the country. The West Hub is headquartered at Berkeley and UW and UCSD, so they're very close partners of ours. The Midwest Hub is actually in the Midwest, and John is going to be representing that today. And we also have a South Hub team that we work with, and they're going to be presenting in another session. So what we're going to be talking about in this session is building national capacity for student-driven data science communities, engaging the students in their education and the building of a community for data science. So the agenda we have today is we're going to do a little intros. We have a slide with everybody's picture and you can see what they do. Then we're going to have the Northeast Hub speak, the people with this background that I have, for those who can see the background. Emily Rothenberg, who is the program coordinator for the National Student Data Corps, will give us an overview of that. And then we're going to have student perspectives from Scott. Scott is at Temple University. He's an undergraduate and a chapter leader for the NSDC chapters. And he actually created the chapter program when he asked if he could have a chapter. So we're always very grateful to Scott. We also have Abhishek, who will be speaking. He was a grad student at Columbia in data science. He got his degree and retired from being at the hub, and he's now in the real world working. And he was a key member of the creation of the National Student Data Corps. So he's going to talk about his perspective as a grad student. And then John is going to speak about the Midwest Big Data Hub Community of Student Leaders program. And then Rajiv will be talking about the DREAM program, which sounds really exciting. And then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end is our plan, but we tend to be loquacious and content rich, so hopefully we'll get there. So these are our panelists today. So I mentioned I was Executive Director of the Northeast Hub at Columbia University. John Mcmullen is Executive Director of the Midwest Big Data Innovation Hub at the National Center for Supercomputing Applications and UIUC in Chicago. Emily Rothenberg is the National Student Data Corps Program Coordinator and at the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub at Columbia. Scott is at Temple. Abhishek is a recent graduate of Columbia, and then Rajiv, who's at Minnesota State University. So these are going to be our speakers today because we have a lot of content. I think we're just going to jump in and get started. And so Emily, if you want to take it away.
Sure. Thank you, Florence. Thank you all for having us today. We're very, very excited to be a part of this educational and informative panel. So today I'll be reviewing the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub and its program, the National Student Data Corps, or NSDC. So the hub is a community convener and collaboration network whose role is to fuel data science innovation through diverse and inclusive partnerships with a focus on underserved communities, whether that be through academia, in higher ed, K through 12 and STEM programs, industry, nonprofit, government, and more. These partnerships span not only across the country, but also around the world, which I will touch on later. And as you can see, the hub has 4 main focus areas: education and data literacy, health, urban to rural communities, and responsible data science, security, privacy, and ethics. Here, you can see some of the activities, events, and resources that we host in each focus area. So the NSDC is the premier program under the education and data literacy focus area, along with other free, open, and available resources. We host the COVID Information Commons underneath the health focus area as an open resource to explore NSF-funded research addressing the pandemic. You'll also find working groups and information on smart cities, cybersecurity, data sharing, and more in the urban to rural and responsible data science focus areas. So definitely feel free to browse through these open resources at the nebigdatahub.org website. So how does the NSDC nurture student-driven data science communities? The NSDC is a community-developed initiative created to foster a very diverse and welcoming data science community for learners of all ages, all backgrounds, all skill levels, you name it. Last year, we had over 20 people interested in creating the foundation of the NSDC, including researchers, professors, industry, nonprofit members, undergraduate and graduate students. Shout out to Abhishek. They make up our founding committee. We organize the work into 3 different teams: the content and pedagogy team, the peer instructor and mentoring team, and the outreach team. These teams truly assist the NSDC in leading our effort and really come together to cultivate a community of diverse insights and perspectives to grow the NSDC portal and community. The NSDC has grown tremendously in the past year. We were originally branded as the Northeast Student Data Corps, and we quickly had to be rebranded as the National Student Data Corps with an international reach. The NSDC has over 2,700 members since starting from 0 back in February of 2021. These members come from over 470 institutions, and they currently span the United States and 20 additional countries, as you can see here on the global map. These countries include Nigeria, Ecuador, India, Turkey, Ethiopia, Germany, the Philippines, and more. We host virtual resources and virtual events to ensure that our members can join from around the world. And we truly welcome learners of all ages and backgrounds to join our community. So the NSCC and Hub communities also include students, researchers, professors, and professionals from minority serving institutions, or MSIs, from across the country. This includes Hispanic serving institutions, Asian American and Native American Pacific Islander serving institutions, historically Black colleges and universities, primarily Black institutions, Alaska Native and Native Hawaiian serving institutions, Native American serving non-tribal institutions, and tribal colleges and universities. The NSDC community includes 89 MSIs and over 485 individuals who either attend or work at MSIs. And we're very proud to have that representation in our community. You can view more about these statistics on our community engagement page. Okay, so the NSDC is filled with resources, everything that you can think of. The NSDC provides free and accessible online data science resources for learners and educators. First, we have the Learner Central. So here you can learn data science at your own pace. Whether you're just getting started or you want to learn advanced tips and techniques, you can find resources here to help you. There are resources regarding data science ethics, the basics of data science, all the way up to computer programming. So if you're looking to get started, whether it's algebra, probability, R, SQL, Python, or more, you can visit the Learner Central to get started or practice your skills. Similarly, we have the Educator Central. So here, educators can find a vast range of resources and materials to develop or broaden a data science program. You can find programs and resources here from many different institutions, including Columbia University, University of Rochester, Queensborough Community College. We have Data 8 from UC Berkeley, and more. You will also find open data sets here to help create research projects or practice questions for students. And we also have the video library, which has very digestible 5 to 15-minute videos recorded by data science students themselves using IBM Open Data Science for All GitHub content, SQL and R educational materials created by our student volunteers, and more. You'll find videos from, again, introductory courses all the way up to machine learning and data science use cases here. So feel free to check that out. We also have free resources for chapter and career development. So if you're wondering how to start your data science career, which many of us are, you may leverage the Career Central, where you'll find the latest job listings that are constantly being updated, resume tips, practice materials for upcoming interviews, and more. We have our Chapter Central, which I will cover in our next slide. And we have our Volunteer Central. So the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub has a program called the Real Volunteers, which stands for Research, Experience, and Leadership Volunteers. The Real Volunteers is a group of learners who donate their time and skills to content creation and development. We offer opportunities to facilitate online events, curate resources, and more, all while they get to learn more about data science and its real-world applications. So if you are interested in joining the Real Volunteer program, you can apply directly on our website and start gaining experience for yourself. Now to touch on the NSDC chapter system. So our NSDC chapters extend the NSDC's mission of creating a community of support for its members. We want to extend it through local community development initiatives for underserved and underrepresented communities and learners. We provide mentorship, research opportunities, career development opportunities, all to launch their data science journeys. The NSDC chapter system, we do have 4 main objectives: education, community development, project-based collaboration, and internship and career opportunity enablement. We are working to create this super supportive network for all data science learners and enthusiasts. We've had a lot of interest in this program from over 85 students and professors spanning over 20 states in the United States and 3 foreign countries, including Ghana, Ethiopia, and India. And we currently have 11 institutional chapters at place, which you can see as Florence is circling. They're all listed there, including Temple University, shout out to Scott, Houston Clear Lake, Johns Hopkins, Scripps Institution of Oceanography, Tufts University, the College of Southern Maryland, and 5 DSEU institutions in India. I would also like to note that it is not required to be associated with an institution to be able to join this program. We're creating regional chapters as well that will allow learners to connect with each other, no matter where they are in their respective careers. We really want it to be a very welcoming and inclusive space for students and enthusiasts to network and learn from each other. The Data Science Resource Repository, or DSRR, is a curated set of resources for learners and educators that promotes data science literacy. So data science literacy skills are crucial and provide a strong knowledge base for the future of our workforce. The DSRR is made openly available on the Northeast Big Data Hub's website with the aim of leveraging these best practices and resources to broadly increase data science capacity, again, with a special focus on underserved communities. You will find organized resources for educators, such as data science curriculum development, faculty fellowships, and funding opportunities. And you may also find resources for students, such as really interesting data science challenges open data sets, projects and use cases, and more. There are also some really fun resources listed in there, like podcasts, data science games, presentations, and we also have this wonderful comic book series here, which we can show you on the next slide. This is the Data Responsibly comic book series written by Falaa Arif Khan and Julia Stoyanovich, who is a member of the Hub's advisory board. It's an extremely creative and interactive way to learn about data science ethics and artificial intelligence. It's not the childhood comic books that you might pick up. It's really interesting, and the books come in English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese variations. So definitely, I would recommend going to find one of these and flipping through one of the books. It's really interesting. The Nsdc mentorship program facilitates mentorship opportunities for over 480 data science enthusiasts. So the Nsdc, we facilitate connections between our Nsdc mentors and our Nsdc mentees in order to share knowledge of the world of data science. We've had students reach out with questions that range all the way from very general data science career questions to interview prep, project assistance, resume review, and more. And we actually we have an Nsdc Slack, and we have a mentoring Slack channel in there. We leverage that as a way for everyone to kind of come together, ask and answer questions together. And you can apply to be a part of this program and join the Slack using those links on the screen. Our Nsdc data science panels. So the Nsdc also hosts a data science panel webinar series that invites students and professionals from all disciplines to share their experiences learning and using data science. We have hosted 8 panels to date, and we'll be hosting our next panel in August 2022, this upcoming August. So keep an eye out for that. Here you can see we've hosted a panel for Women's History Month that showcased 3 women excelling in the field of data science. We also hosted a student-focused panel in April in honor of Community College Month. You can rewatch those panels on our YouTube channel or read summaries about them on our website. It really is a wonderful opportunity for enthusiasts all to join and ask questions about the panelists' paths and their careers. We've heard some really great pieces of advice from the panelists and really great feedback from the attendees. So definitely feel free to check those out too. And one last program I would like to mention is the NSDC's inaugural Data Science Symposium. So the NSDC DSS for short is a virtual forum for undergraduate and graduate students at private, public, and community colleges and institutions around the world who are interested in data science to present their research, network with other data science students, and grow their data science knowledge and community. We had a student reach out to us and say, I'm in undergrad, and I have this research that I did that I'm really proud of, but I don't have anywhere to present it. What should I do? So we created this program to fill that need. This program started in February of 2022. And since then, we have had approximately 120 students from around the globe express their interest in participating. All of those participants were invited to monthly mentoring sessions and workshops along the way to assist them in designing and completing their projects. So the students really got to ask questions regarding their projects and receive great advice during those mentoring calls from researchers, educators, and professionals. And on the right hand of the screen, you'll see our theme challenges. So our theme challenges were created by a team of researchers and educators in order to assist students who have not done a project before. We wanted to help them be able to get started. So their project prompts with also linked data sets inside. A lot of the participants really found those helpful if they haven't had much experience in the project area before. So our students recently submitted poster and presentation submissions on June 15th, and the winners will be announced in September to then be invited to share their research on a live NSDC webinar. So we hope to turn this into an annual program and continue offering these project building resources to, again, learners of all skill levels. And that sums up my overview of the NSDC. Feel free to join the community by becoming a real volunteer, an NSDC mentor or mentee. You may sign up for the monthly mailing list, join some upcoming events, or follow us on our social platforms. Thank you so much for your time and for your support.
Thank you, Emily. That was a great overview, very content rich. We love content rich. We're all about the data. So that was really great. And I love the way you highlighted a number of programs that the students helped us create and inform, which is going to be great to go into, Scott Nabishek's discussion next. And also when you do these data science career or student panels, I would think that some of the audience might be interested in being on those panels, not just listening. So they could probably contact either of us or send an email to nsdc@anybigdatahub.org if they're interested in actually even being on a panel.
Yes, absolutely. We have a career panel page on our website, and there's a button right at the bottom that you can click on, fill out a very short Google form, and we can contact you if you're interested in participating in the panels.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Great overview. Now we'd like to go to Scott Blender. Scott was amazing. When I first met him, we were having a call and he asked if he could have a chapter, and we hadn't thought of that yet. So we want to thank him for helping to create the chapter program for the NSDC. And so he's from Temple University, which is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for those who might not know. And he is the student chapter leader for the NSDC student chapter and an undergraduate student. And so Scott, I can work your slides for you and you can start presenting.
Perfect. Sounds great. I just wanted to thank everyone so much for inviting me here today and for being able to speak with you all. I really wanted to dive into some of the local impact that the NSDC and NSDC has done and really explain to you what chapters you're doing and how they can be really impactful for students across the country and now across the globe. So just a bit of notes on my background. I'm actually a data science and machine learning intern at Wells Fargo. And I have a lot of experience in working with various different data science packages and applying data science skills that I've developed through resources that the NSDC has shared and other resources that I'll get to later to really kind of hone in and develop my data science skills. I'm also a founding member of the Coronavirus Visualization Team, which was a nonprofit that actually worked to combat misinformation during COVID-19 through objective data visualizations. And I'm an engineering and data science student at Temple University. So the main goal kind of going into the NSDC chapter system was to really inspire, educate, and serve local communities with professional development opportunities by leveraging all the resources that the NSDC provides and all the events they share to students that are publicly accessible. I really felt it was important to kind of extend the mission that the NSDC was doing and really make sure that local communities could really benefit from all these resources, because as was explained earlier, there's so many impactful resources that can really benefit local communities. And I think by focusing in these local communities and helping them to expand and see what resources are available, it can really help students grow their data science skills and apply them to things that they might be interested in. And so just to give a bit of notes about what chapters are actually doing, at Temple University, we've been able to organize events alongside other campus organizations and really work directly with the school to help facilitate connections for data science students who are interested in expanding their knowledge and interests within the field. We've also been able to host local companies and have them present foundational data science topics and applications for students to get involved in. We invited Cigna recently to speak with our students and actually share internship opportunities for these students to say, if you're interested and have the skills that might be necessary, feel free to apply to our programs, and creating this kind of local driven impact and really helping to make sure that we can extend this mission of career development and professional opportunities to local areas and to help local companies recruit talented students. We've also been able to provide access to resources available through the Learner Central, as well as more of the resources that were discussed on the NSDC website, which has really been helpful for students across Temple University, and I'm sure other chapters, in making sure that we can really help students develop their data science skills and really become passionate about things they're interested in within data science. We've also helped students apply to graduate school programs or professional development opportunities, helping them work through their applications during their senior years of university, and making sure that they can really feel like they have a network and a source of mentorship in applying for these opportunities and finding things that might be interesting to them in their local communities. And just to give a bit of discussion on some of the work that students in the chapter at Temple University have actually done, kind of extending on this theme of project-based collaboration. We've actually worked on quite a few different projects that have really helped students kind of grow their skills, not just from the theoretical or foundational side of things, but also into applications, which is very important, especially in the field of data science. And some of the things that we've helped work on are using Twitter to investigate misinformation during the COVID-19 pandemic. This was a very introductory machine learning project for students that were interested, and we really helped them figure out, well, one, how to use things like an API or an application programming interface. How do you use a very large data set, take that data set, understand how to clean and process it, and then transform it into something that's very usable? And then how do you extrapolate and communicate results to a larger audience to make sure that they can understand pretty digestibly what you're trying to present? And so this was a really cool project to work on with students and kind of walk them through the basic high-level overview of going through a data science project and some of the things that you can really do that are impactful to take away from. In addition to that, we've also worked on various other projects, including understanding the effects of inflation on healthcare systems. This was a very recent project and something that's come up recently with the drastic rise in inflation due to the pandemic. And it was something that was really interesting to see kind of students at Temple University kind of take initiative on themselves. Like, hey, now that we know how to make a project and make it work, I want to be able to take this initiative and work on something with other students. And being able to have a chapter and provide the resources and connections that students might need gives them this opportunity and access point to be able to ensure that they can have successful projects and really work on impactful solutions, extending their data science skills and interests. In addition to that, we also tried our hand at basic introductory, like not necessarily coursework, but interactive talks and discussions, where we had senior undergraduate students present introductory machine learning concepts and applications for technical interviews. This was going hand in hand with the professional development that a lot of chapters do, really making sure that students in the chapter, NSCC chapters, can really make sure that they hone in on their professional development and career development skills and get opportunities that may be of interest to them. And lastly, I just wanted to share some opportunities to grow your own data science skills for students that may be in the audience today, and some things that I found very helpful in my own journey in data science. As you all are probably familiar with right now, Kaggle is a great resource. It's super diverse and immersive. You can work on various different projects and really get your hands dirty in interactive data science projects and really learn how to take something from a basic data set to something that people can benefit from and take information from. In addition to that, Google Dataset Search is a great resource if you're just starting out and looking for data. I use this all the time for some of the projects that we've worked on in the chapter, as well as other personal projects I've worked on within data science. In addition to this, I really want to shout out the data science resource repository that the NSDC has. It's a great place to access different resources, various different tutorials, and various links and opportunities that might be helpful in your data science exploration. In addition to that, and lastly, I think some YouTube channels that are really great for students to watch if they're just getting started in data science or statistics are channels such as StatQuest, 3Blue1Brown, and Centex. All these channels really focus on introductory and intermediate data science topics, helping to break them down for students in ways that are very easily digestible and easy for them to kind of start from ground zero of like, hey, maybe I don't know how to program, or maybe I want to learn how to program. How do I do that? And then build my skills slowly, step by step, to making sure I can apply both the theory and concepts into various different applications. And lastly, I just wanted to touch on the undergraduate kind of perspective and importance. As you can tell here by what the Temple University chapter has done, and as was mentioned before, there's over 10 chapters that are all doing super impactful and amazing work, and more to come in the future. I really think that it's so important to get undergraduates started early with data science exploration and giving them opportunities like this to really make sure that they can grow their data science skills, get the professional development and career development resources that help them grow, and really work with all of the amazing resources that are provided by the NSDC to ensure that they can be successful in their data science journeys. Thank you everyone so much.
Scott, that was excellent. Great job. And this is why Emily calls people like you data science enthusiasts. You're so enthusiastic. We're so lucky. You know, and we look forward to you and others like you that are going to continue down this path and be the leaders of the data science community into the future. So thank you so much for all the great work you've done already. And it's really great to have you on board. Now we're going to have Abhishek speak. So Abhishek was actually one of the founding members of the National Student Data Corps. Through the Hub community, we can hire part-time students who are Columbia University students to work with us. And we were very lucky that he actually scoped us out before he came to Columbia. And they said, oh, there's a student coming in who wants to work with the Hub. We're like, really? How cool is that? So very good homework, Abhishek, as always. And so then he joined the team and he did some really great work actually creating our volunteer program, which we call the Real Volunteer Program, engaging with students to ask them to record some of those videos we talked about. And he actually recorded the IBM Open Data Science for All data ethics module for us. So he's done a lot of wonderful work for us while he was getting his Master of Science in Data Science. And now he's in the real world working. And so we're going to let him talk a little bit about himself and give us his perspective. So Abhishek, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Florence, for the extensive introduction and for, for everything. I really enjoyed working with the Hub, and it's my pleasure to be here and, share my experience with it. So with that said, I'll get into a little about myself. So currently I'm working as a part of the data science and analytics team for the AI and data platform at eightfold.ai. As Florence mentioned, I was a graduate student assistant at the Northeast Big Data Innovation Hub and a founding member of the Nsdc, where I was involved with a lot of their initiatives, including Learner Central, including volunteers, and coming up with the open source curriculum that formed a crux of what the Learner Central was at that point of time. As I pursued my MS in data science at Columbia, I was also secretary of the Data Science Student Council. So I engaged a lot with the student community in the data science master's program at Columbia and understood a lot about the requirements that they might have that went a little beyond the coursework that was being offered in university. Before that, in my BTech, which was in computer science engineering, I also taught a course on data-driven decision-making to nearly 30 plus peers in my undergrad. And that was also a foundational aspect towards making me understand what it was that beginners in data science might really require beyond what was offered in the classroom. And that's primarily what I'm going to be talking about today. Two broad questions that I want to be addressing today. Firstly, what do graduate students bring to the table specifically and uniquely? And what is it that they offer that is so important in this entire network that the NSDC so nicely creates? And what do graduate students then gain from this interaction as well? And why is it that they should actively participate in it? So answering the first question first, what do graduate students bring to the table? I think when it comes to data science, there's a lot of aspects to it. There's the academia that's involved, there's the research that goes in, and there's a lot of studying that's involved. But what people often miss out on are the soft interactions that go on here, how difficult it is as a student to really understand, and intimidating it is to really go and approach a professor, to talk about what it is that they want to do, to talk about new ideas that they want to explore, new projects that they want to go about and bring, and actually find resources for each and every one of them that they might not ever have been exposed to in the past. Graduate students provide a focal point for students to approach that serve as a middle ground where they have enough experience to be on the other end of the pipeline that these data science beginners are just entering. They've already studied everything that academia might have to offer in the undergrad program and are on the other side and have seen what that looks like and what the shortcomings there are. This brings them into the unique position where they actually can fill in the gaps that exist over here, and they can bring to the student, the undergraduate that wants to participate in this, the information that they really need. The soft mentoring hand that might guide them through all of these interactions or through academia and let them actually make use of what they're learning in their academics and apply them in the real world. This includes a lot of specific examples, right? This includes things like understanding what interviews in data science look like and what their specific experiences in the past might have been with this. Interviews are very intimidating for students, and hearing firsthand what people's experiences in that have been like is often extremely helpful, especially when learning resources that they might have used that might have best benefited them towards that. And there's a lot of other things over here as well. Graduate students not only can serve as mentors to all of these undergrads and all of these other data science beginners, but they can also serve as sources for resource compilations, where they bring in all the resources that have served them so well over the years that they've learned data science, and can pile them together and create a repository that can be so helpful for these students. And I think that's specifically what NSDC has done really well right now. Nsdc has managed to approach so many graduate students, so many students and professors and academia members that might be involved within data science, and has taken from their personal experience a lot of these resources and put them together. Things like what Scott mentioned just in his talk at the end, right? Kaggle, StatQuest, all of these open source sources that are so freely available are often very difficult to find. And more often than not, it's even more difficult to verify whether all these open source resources are really reliable or not. And that's unfortunately a problem that comes with having open source resources. But the fact that you have someone else that can validate each of these resources and tell you that they are actually important and that they're resources that actually go a long way towards helping you in a proper manner in your data science development, that's something that's extremely crucial and valuable, and not something that can be missed out. But more importantly, and I think extremely importantly actually, is the fact that graduate students are probably some of the most approachable people for data science beginners as compared to other individuals. Not really by virtue of anything wrong that anyone else is doing, but just by virtue of the fact that they're still active student members, which just brings a sort of familiarity that other individuals kind of lack when they're not students anymore, because you see them and you think of them as individuals that are going through the same academic pain that you're going through the same exams, through the same projects, through the same assignments that you're going through. And that source of familiarity is something that can create mentorship bonds that might not necessarily last as well, or might not necessarily be as concrete otherwise. In fact, very recently, a student that I taught during my undergraduate program back when I was teaching a course, then reached out to me, which was 3 years later, and told me that they were joining the data science program at NYU, and asked me if I knew any resources around there and if I could introduce them to people around over here. And that's the true value here. By virtue of being just a few years ahead of them in the academic life cycle, you're kind of progressing as everyone below you is progressing as well. So as the undergraduate enters the graduate program, you go from the graduate program to the real world and the career world, and so on. And that kind of cyclical progress is something that is invaluable, and is something that uniquely can only be offered by graduate students at this intersection. What then do graduate students gain from this interaction, right? Everything that I mentioned earlier is a two-way street. At every point where you're explaining something to an undergraduate or to any individual that's not as advanced in the data science curriculum as you are, there's a certain clarity that you need in the concepts that you're explaining. And this is true in the same as when you're teaching something. You need to have a certain clarity of concepts to be able to answer the questions that someone else has, but also to be able to structure every piece of information that you're giving to someone provides a certain clarity that you're simply not going to ever achieve just through studying. And I think that's extremely crucial and valuable when it comes to what graduate students gain out of this. But beyond that, it's just creating a network within the data science community that you might not get another chance to do in any other way. And this is a very concrete network where you've been helping each other out. And it's, as they say, right, the best friends you create are the ones that you help out and the ones that you offer help to yourself. So there's a lot of benefit that graduate students can gain from this towards creating their network, towards understanding, clarifying their concepts better, and to dig deeper through all the fascinating questions that are often posed to them by all of these people that they're interacting with. So with that said, I think NSDC is doing an absolutely amazing job with the mentoring program that they have and with all the interactions that they facilitate over there. So yeah, I hopefully many people in this audience as well will join that, and the community will only get broader and wider and resources stronger.
Excellent. Thank you, Abhishek. And you can see another data science enthusiast. We're so lucky that they're drawn to this program, which is really cool. And it's what helped create the program and helps it to grow. And somebody was asking in the chat, could this be for more than students? And actually, it could. You know, what we do is we listen to the community and say, what would you like? How could we help you? And then we can help enable that. It could be that it's all together in a section, a chapter. It could be that we have a professional chapter. You know, we've thought of having alumni chapters, but we wait to see what people think. We don't build it and they will come. We're like, oh my gosh, there are 2,000 more people who want it. You know, so that's kind of how we do it. So if you are interested in that, feel free to reach out to us. And as Abhishek was saying, the grad students really bring their experience with them. So a couple of the programs that we have that have been recorded in our video library, they were actually content created by the grad students. One of them said, whenever I go to an interview, they always ask me about SQL. We need an SQL class in here. So he created a 5-module SQL class, found another person to record it. And so that's on the website. Another student said they really should know about R&R Studio. And so he created that material. We work with them to vet it and to complete it. And so it's a research experience, you know, if they get involved in programs like that, or they help others with capstone projects. And it's a leadership opportunity too. They learn how to lead, either, you know, Abhishek and Scott leading the chapters, or the founding of the Nsdc, leading other students to record things, being a thought leader. So there's a whole lot of opportunity working together. And so we're really delighted that we had a chance to talk about this. And I want to thank Emily, Scott, and Abhishek for presenting. So that wraps up this part of it. And now what we want to do is transition to John Mcmullen from the Midwest Big Data Innovation Hub to talk about building regional capacity in data science education. John?
Thanks very much, Florence. Can you hear me all right?
Yes,
Great.
we can.
Thank you. Thanks for the Northeast team for these great presentations. You guys have been great role models for the rest of the hubs and the work that you're doing. I also wanted to acknowledge Ashley Atkins from the West Hub, who has been our fearless leader in organizing our participation at this meeting. And thank you, Berkeley, as well, for hosting. I am going to go ahead, Florence, if you can go to the next slide and just do a quick refresh on who the hubs are and what we do, since we have had quite a few people join the webinar since we started. We are part of a network of 4 hubs across the US that is funded by the National Science Foundation. We have been around since 2015 with a mission to really bring together a variety of folks across different academic disciplines and across sectors as well, who have interests in data science and research data more broadly, along with other kinds of data as well. And really focusing on that community building and capacity building mission across the country and within our specific regions. Go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So I'm talking a little bit today about the Midwest approach to this general topic that we have for today. Our hub is a partnership of 6 institutions across the Midwest. You can see the logos at the bottom of the slide here. And so we have a number of theme areas that we focus on in our region, as the Northeast talked about, one of them being data science education. And so I wanted to mention some of the goals that we have in this particular space to really strengthen that mission of community engagement and broadening participation of a variety of communities within data science. And so part of our work involves outreach to minority serving institutions, tribal colleges and universities, along with primarily undergraduate institutions, which are not historically focused on research and more focused on teaching and instruction, and so may not have the research capacity that a lot of other larger institutions have, but still have that strong interest and need for robust data science education, particularly focused on workforce development in a lot of cases. So community colleges, for example, have a strong mission to develop training that folks can take directly to the workplace. And so really trying to broaden the perspective of data science out from research institutions into other institutions and organizations across our region is really part of our mission, and I think the other hubs as well. In our case, we're very interested in building communities of peers, particularly at the student level, to be able to share the work that they're doing, share best practices and experiences that they have had, to again try to build that capacity for the long term. And so while we don't do a lot of one-on-one instruction for students, we're sort of a level up from that, looking at organizations and structures that can help build that long-term capacity for instruction and for workforce development. So we support students and student groups in this work, along with faculty, researchers, and staff around professional development in a variety of ways. I'll talk just about a couple of examples on the call today, but happy to have conversations with folks who are interested offline as well. The Northeast collection of resources really is phenomenal, and so we plan to leverage that for a lot of the work that we do, and develop additional supplementary materials that we can hopefully incorporate into that resource as well. But definitely encourage you all to check out that Northeast repository that was mentioned earlier. So let's take a look at a couple of examples of how we're trying to achieve these goals here. So taking that community building and outreach lens that I mentioned before, and focusing that on student data science organizations, other student groups on campuses that have interests in data and data science. We're trying to approach this from the sort of student group leadership level, looking at, again, ways that groups can share their experiences, share their best practices, their resources with other student groups across the region, doing this in an interdisciplinary way across different departments and disciplines on specific campuses, but really across institutions as well. There's, we think, a lot of opportunity for students across different campuses to learn from each other in ways that they may not have an opportunity to do ordinarily. They may be very focused on what's happening on their own campus and not have a lot of opportunity to see what other groups who have similar missions are doing elsewhere in our region. So part of the goal with this particular student group community that we're building is to bring together those student group leadership partners across the region, help them to make connections with their peers, and start those discussions about the experiences that they have as chapter leaders, as student group leaders. These can be registered student organizations on campuses. They can be informal clubs. They can just be a few students who have shared interests. We're pretty agnostic about the official nature of these groups. We really just want to try to build this community of peers and bring folks together. So we have a few mechanisms to do that. We have an ongoing webinar series that brings in groups and explores their activities and their experiences, building those groups and offering services. That has been a bit of a challenge during the pandemic because, as many of you probably know, there has been a lot of challenge in getting student groups to have face-to-face activities the past couple of years. I think most student groups now have pivoted quite well and are taking on the challenge to do online events and other kinds of activities that don't necessarily require in-person participation. And so I think that later this year, we'll be able to really accelerate that webinar series to be more of a monthly time frame. Beyond that, we have a series of profiles that we're building on our website of those student groups to give folks a sense of what, again, the basics are for those groups and how they're engaging with their communities. So that will continue to grow. I'll tell you the mechanism in a moment for how we do that, but that will continue to grow and be a resource for future student engagement going forward as well. We have a new Slack community that we will use to have that participation continue outside of the webinar venue and provide opportunities for students to engage with each other at any point. And then we do have an archive, as the Northeast does, of our webinars on our YouTube channel as well. Next slide, please. I wanted to mention another community that we have called the Midwest Carpentries community. Some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the Carpentries organization, software carpentry, data carpentry, and library carpentry, as a way to build hands-on skill development with a variety of audiences. Could be students in undergrad levels, it could be graduate students, but also research staff and faculty as well have used those resources. And so, you know, again, in the Midwest, we're trying to build this cross-institutional community of folks who benefit from the Carpentries organization, primarily focused on building instructor capacity, particularly at smaller institutions, again, as our focus area. But again, building that community of peers who can share best practices, share instructional techniques, get a sense of maybe differences in audiences or across disciplines in terms of instructional practices. So I really view this as an analog to our student community building, really more focused on the instructor side of that development. In this case, we do, again, have a monthly webinar, which is open to anybody interested in data science skill development. That is usually led every month by one of our peers who is a instructor or a mentor on their campus for the Carpentries. And we do have regular participation from the Carpentries organization as well. So I encourage folks who have an interest in that side of data science instruction to check that group out as well. All right, the next concept that I wanted to mention, all of the 4 big data hubs have a mechanism for incubating new activities that are driven by the community needs and interests that folks in our regional communities have. And so in the Midwest, we have branded that as the Community Development and Engagement Program. And what we do with this is develop partnerships with community members and organizations to develop specific programs that the community is really invested in seeing become established in the region. And so this is a way to really incubate these new activities and grow them to the point of sustainability. And along the way, hopefully create some value that can be leveraged by other people outside of that initial group. And so we actually have a call open right now for proposals that is focused on resilient communities topics, and that closes on August 1st, but we do have an ongoing call for these kinds of activities as well. So if you're in the Midwest and you have an interest in initiating these kinds of data science education activities, we'd love to talk with you about your ideas there as well. Next slide, please. So I wanted to mention a couple of the partner activities that we have established through that CDE program that relate to data science education, because I think there's some good examples that are either in the works or have already completed through that program that folks on the call may be interested in. I won't go through all the details of these, but I'll note that we had a recent workshop led by Lawrence Technological University in Michigan, looking at ways to develop data science tools and resources for the undergraduate neuroscience community. So building curriculum, building supplementary data sets and tools to support instruction for undergraduate neuroscience. That was a project that was funded through that CDE program. Had some great interest from the community, and that will be moving forward with some other proposal development and other activities going forward. We had a program where we partnered with the University of Michigan called the Learning Innovation Fellows Program that brought together 2 cohorts of graduate level students who have data science interests, but also sustainability interest, to work with faculty in sustainability departments to help augment their curriculum to include data and data related resources for sustainability topics. And so those tools were available through the Gala platform and the Cubes Hub program, which is funded by NSF. And so those are available for instructors at various institutions to reuse in their courses as well. We have a couple of other activities that are coming up very soon. We're working with St. Catherine University in Minnesota to develop a boot camp, summer boot camp for middle and high school girls on data science career pathways and hands-on tools for them to use. And then with Trinity Christian College here in Illinois, we have a Data for Good workshop coming up where we're focused on mentoring early career faculty on how to incorporate data for good activities in their curriculum, regardless of what department and discipline that they are teaching in. So look out for upcoming announcements about those activities. We also have a partnership, longstanding partnership with the Tribal Nations Research Group, which is a consortium from the upper Midwest focused on bringing together tribal colleges and universities and their affiliated tribal government representatives. We have had a longstanding partnership around data science, hands-on workforce development topics, as well as digital agriculture and drones and sensing networks, things like that in the ag space. And so that workshop is coming up as well. So lots of things happening that I think will benefit folks on the call in terms of resources and case studies and best practices around data science instruction for these different kinds of communities. All right, last sort of wrap up slide here. I wanted to mention that we do support individual students to some extent. I mentioned the Learning Innovation Fellows program where we provided fellowship stipends to a couple of cohorts of students, but we also do have a couple of intern programs here at the Midwest Hub, one focused on science communication, so students who research and write stories about data science projects and students and researchers in our region. Those are published on our website as well. And we have a second program that is focused on outreach to data science student groups in particular, but other student organizations and faculty groups. Both of those internship programs will be recruiting for new students starting in late July. So any students in the Midwest region are welcome to apply to that set of programs, and we would love to have a great new group starting this fall for the next academic year to participate in those programs. So finally here, again, feel free to reach out to us if you would like to hear more about this work. Even if you're not in the Midwest region, we'd be happy to talk with you about our experiences and how you may be able to benefit from the work that folks have done already. I want to make sure we have enough time to go to Rajiv here, so I'd be happy to take questions, but we can wait until after the next speaker at this point.
That sounds great. Yeah, I think we'll do the panel discussion at the end. John, I'm always inspired by all the cool stuff you do, and especially your focus on tribal colleges and universities. We actually don't have any in the Northeast, which shocked me, but we don't. And it's wonderful how you're able to do that. So thank you for that. And there's even more collaboration opportunity. I was thinking those young ladies in middle school and high school, you know, maybe they would like the data science comic books we presented. You know, there are some cool things I think we can do together even more, which is great. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for inviting Rajiv.
Yeah, so Rajiv is a faculty member who you'll hear from in a moment, but has been a long time hub partner, and we had his student group on our webinar and profiled them on our website as well. So it's great to have you here to tell us about the details of this group.
Wonderful. Can you all see my slide deck?
We can see it. We can hear you.
Wonderful. So I'm here to talk about DREAM. So thank you, John, for inviting me. The Midwest Big Data Hub has been a great partner with us, great supporter of our activities. So DREAM is a student club. And what it means is data resources for eager and analytical minds. I did not come up with that name. The student voted on that name and selected it. So DREAM is a student organization, a recognized student organization at Minnesota State University in Mankato. If you don't know where Mankato is located, it is about 75 miles south of Minneapolis. And Minnesota State University in Mankato is the second largest public university in the state of Minnesota, but it is not a Research One university. So the story I'm going to tell you today is even more interesting because a large organization like DREAM emerged from an unlikely place. So with that, the mission of DREAM is to promote and support activities and resources related to data science, machine learning, AI. It was founded in fall of 2016. And I just arrived from University of Wisconsin as a faculty member at Minnesota State, and I was teaching a database management class. I started to think out loud in the class that it would be great to have a data science club on campus because we did not have a data science program at that time. Not a graduate program or undergraduate program, as a matter of fact, not even data science courses. I had helped start a program in Wisconsin in data science, so I was pretty enthusiastic about it. 2 students came forward and said, let's do it. The club started to pick momentum. Around 2019, we actually touched 350 students. So currently we have over 300 students. These students represent a variety of academic disciplines, IT, computer science, but math and stats, but also humanities and business. So they come from eclectic background, which is our belief that data science is a transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary field. Students collaborate with other student clubs on campus. Majority of the students are BIPOC and women students. So think about that as a faculty member. When I teach computer science related classes, we see fewer women students in the classroom. That is not the case with DREAM. So the current leadership is pretty much all women students. It has been the case in the last 3 years. The university really recognizes the efforts and achievements of the club and gave the club an award in 2020. These are some of the things that the club does. We invite guest speakers from companies to talk about data science and AI trends. We run hackathons. Some are internal, some are external, some we support. We help students develop startups in data science AI space. Students work on collaborative problems, do research projects. We connect them with industry mentors. We have variety of workshops with in partnership with different companies such as Microsoft and SAS. They regularly come and run 1 day, 2 day, 3 day workshops on variety of data science related topics for students. So some of the companies that have been a part of DREAM activities, including guest lectures, Microsoft, Google, IBM, many of these companies also provide us resources. Then we invite academic speakers throughout the Minnesota who can talk to students about some interesting ideas related to data science. So what you see on this screen is a mathematician talking about how topologies are helpful in data science work. SAS has conducted data analytics workshops regularly for us. So they have been a great partner. So is Microsoft. Microsoft has been doing workshops for us for many years. These are DREAM meetings. So students come together every 2 weeks. And some of these meetings are pretty big. So initially, we had only 2 students in the club, now over 300 students. And sometimes we get surprises. Sometimes we anticipate that we're gonna get 50 students. And suddenly we have like 120, 130, or 150 students, and we are out of pizzas. But it is exciting to see all the students and the variety of projects they work on and the value they get by getting involved in DREAM activities. DREAM sends the students to a variety of different hackathons. As I said, initially we didn't have a data science program. Now we do. At that time, DREAM was the only mechanism to prepare students for hackathons. So the students were learning data science outside of their classroom by partnering with other students. So since then, DREAM has won many, many awards in many different hackathons. So that's a real story. DREAM also supports big hackathons like Midwest Undergraduate Data Analytics Competition, MUDAC, which is a 24-hour nonstop competition. Students arrive on campus. The last time we hosted it, about 50 universities throughout the Midwest competed in a 24-hour nonstop challenge. The students don't know the problem in advance. So the last 2 problems were focused on social issues. Thomson Reuters sponsored a data science problem related to Minnesota court docket system, how to make Minnesota courts more efficient. Year before, it was about Minnesota water quality, because we are the state of over 10,000 lakes. So how do we handle the issues of water quality? So that was the challenge. So this is MUDAC. We will hold MUDAC again next year. DREAM provides about 100 student volunteers we need about 125 judges from the industry to judge this competition. So these are some of the pictures, some sample projects that students have done and sent to different conferences through DREAM. I will take just one example. So DREAM is not just about computer science, data science, IT, math, stats, disciplines. It's about all the disciplines that we believe that every discipline enriches data science, and data science is a value for every discipline. So 2 students, for example, who are actually pre-med students, they want to be physicians. They worked with other students in DREAM and learned Python in just a couple of months and submitted a project about using deep learning in detecting breast cancer in ultrasound images. That's a real powerful collaboration. Those students had no background in computer science whatsoever. DREAM has been recognized in a lot of media coverage in the state. Big companies in the state already know about the club because we provide a lot of students to those companies. And some of those alumni come back and help us. So we needed the students to do some interesting project that required infrastructure. So we recently got these 2 fantastic servers in the club. We affectionately call them Matrix and Neuron. And these are the kinds of things the students are doing with them. These were in support from Dell and NVIDIA. So these have multiple V100 GPUs. This is the current leadership. I serve as the founder and the advisor. And here's the contact information. Now, so just to wrap this up, when we started DREAM, obviously our focus was how to provide resources to students to succeed in data science and AI space. And that still is our primary goal. But we never thought of DREAM as just a student club. We thought that DREAM would be a force for change in this world, a youth movement. Now we are starting to get involved with some of those activities. One of the upcoming projects is a student working with disadvantaged communities in the state, in Minneapolis and St. Paul area, especially predominantly Black and indigenous communities, and helping them to empower. And so that's an upcoming project DREAM is getting involved with. So that's where we want to put our energies moving forward, becoming a youth movement, not just remaining as a youth club or a student club. I want to thank you, UC Berkeley, for giving us this opportunity to talk about DREAM. I want to thank you, the Midwest Big Data Hub, John in particular, to give us this opportunity. You have been a great resource for us, and we continue to work with the hub. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for your time.
That was excellent. Thank you so much, Rajiv. Very inspiring. Look at the growth, like from 2 to 300, right? Like that. Very exciting. So I think I know the people in the chat are saying incredible work, so everyone's really excited about sharing all this. I guess one question I have is there anybody else that is either in the room at Berkeley or online that has some other programs that they want to share? Because this is about us learning from each other and growing this all together. Because I know that Kate actually from the University of Edinburgh actually posted a few things here too. Their data schools.education and learndata.science, which is really cool. And we're going to check them out. Emily's going to check them out, and we might be in touch, Kate, to see if maybe we could leverage them with the NSDC. And there could even be some other collaboration we can do. But are there any other programs that anybody else wants to share that they're doing that we don't know about yet?
Anybody want to share anything about student groups? You?
Well, it's kind of a question too. So we have a student data science club on campus. I'm kind of curious what the advantage is, like how would I convince them to consider becoming an NSCC chapter instead?
So BU has a student group. What's the sort of like pitch to them to be becoming a chapter?
Okay, so Emily would be happy to chat with them. And Emily, maybe you can talk a little bit about why some of the schools are doing this. So I'll tell you from my perspective, from what I've heard, but she's the expert. So like the Scripps Institution for Oceanography, you would think, why would they need this? But they've actually been thinking about this for quite a while, they told us, and they wanted to be able to have like a core of students that they teach how to leverage data, for what they're doing in the oceanographic area. There was another school, I think it was Houston Clear Lake, that they already had a data science club, but they wanted to become part of this bigger community, and it was easy for them to connect. So Emily, maybe you can talk a little bit about why some of the schools are participating.
Yeah, I think the big selling point is that you immediately get access to a network of over 3,000 other data science learners, enthusiasts. I know I use that word a lot, but that's really what they are. I mean, you get connected to Scott, who is at the Temple chapter, and a few other people. I can say like Lily from Johns Hopkins and Steve from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography. You get connected to all of these people. And if you're doing a project and you're a chapter, and that Scott's chapter did a project that was similar, and you want to reach out to him and ask a question, you can do so. It becomes this really collaborative community, and it's really supportive. So that's definitely one of the reasons that a lot of maybe clubs that are already data science related kind of get that association with the NSDC.
Yes, and we're very supportive of the ideas that the students bring, and that's how we have a chapter program. Scott brought that. That's how we have a real volunteer program. Abhishek helped us create that. So we listen to them. And so that one of the things that was brought up by the University of Rochester undergraduate who wanted a place to be able to present her research, because you have to be like a postdoc to present at some of these conferences. What they were talking about too is they would like to have a regional event, like a regional, hackathon or a regional symposium or something. And so that's something else that they could help make happen. So that's another opportunity. Does that help? Does that make sense for whomever asked the question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. And feel free to reach out. Emily can chat you through it. And, we have a little slide deck of how we'll help you. NSF, when we started doing this, they said, create some scaffolding. We're like, what's that? So we did. And so that's why we have this chapter program now, and Emily takes them through. If you want to create a charter, you may have a charter at your school that has to follow your local school guidelines. So please use that. But if you don't have one, here's a sample. We'll create a little Google Drive for you so that you can share your materials. You'll get invited to all of the programs we have. You could give us input on ideas, and it's a very open community anyway, but it's a little more, streamlined if you have a chapter and you're working directly with Emily rather than being one of the 3,000 people that are in the community.
Yes, and you also get your own space on our website where you can let us know if you have any upcoming opportunities or events or projects that you're doing. We can promote it right onto your personal webpage there as well.
Great. Michaela has a couple questions.
Well, it wasn't really questions. You asked for other student groups, and can they hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So these are kind of on either end of what you're working on. So we have just committed to Data Science for Everyone, which is an organization supporting data science for K through 12. So their focus is really just pre-student, but they have a lot of folks in that coalition that are looking at, you know, pathways from K through 12, getting the basic foundations and education there, and then of course into undergraduate. And they work a lot with community colleges too. On the other end, Academic Data Science Alliance has a career development network that's mostly focused on advanced graduate students, postdocs, and early career faculty, creating a support, peer mentor support, resources, kind of the community you're just describing, but right at the next step in the career path. And so I just wanted to shout those two out.
Very cool. The data science for everyone, is that US or global or North America or?
That is a very good question. I believe it's mostly, does somebody else there know more? Mostly US is what I was going to say too. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you for letting us know about that. And feel free to let them know about, you know, all our stuff too.
Right.
They're not my friends yet. I'd be happy to be their friend, but we just don't know them. Data science for everyone. It says there's an NYU center. Are they out of NYU?
No, it's a coalition.
Okay.
I'll find out.
Yeah, if you can put it in the chat or just email it to me, because when I Google it, it comes up as an NYU. Oh no, it's undergraduate class. Okay, I take it back.
Datascienceforeveryone.org, with a 4 being the number 4.
Ah. Like IBM's OpenDS for all. Oh, I got it. Thank you so much, Michaela. That's great to know about. And maybe Kate would be interested in that too, because she's doing K through 12 in Edinburgh in Scotland.
It's that YouTube, the risk center, yeah.
Oh, thank you, Scott. And Scott found it before I did. Thank you. So thoughtful. Any other questions for the people who spoke or each other? Act like we're all in the same room around the planet.
Any questions? Great work. So many things, so much going on. It's really inspiring.
It's really fun. Thank you for giving us the chance to talk about it and share ideas. And feel free to reach out. We're all, as I say in the US, your tax dollars at work, right, John? You know, we're all funded by the National Science Foundation, all the hub work. And we're very grateful for this community and especially the students. People were excited, Scott and Abhishek, that you all were presenting. It was not just us. So it was great having you too. And Rajiv, you look like a student, but thank you for presenting. Okay, so I think we're done, or, you know, you can tell us what else you want us to do.
I think it's fine. We can wrap up. There was 10 more minutes, but.
Oh, people feel bad.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
So-
did you want to show them one of your chapter websites? Is there anything that you want to show them, like, because like BU was asking what you have on some of the chapters or any of them?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll do that, you know, for the BU question. Anybody else interested? So Emily should be able to share her screen. And then on our NSDC website, we have Chapter Central. You know, it's a New York City thing, Grand Central, Chapter Central, Learner Central. That's how we created this thing. But because it started here, it was just, you know, a little acorn top. Now it's global, but.
Sure. So this is the NSDC Chapter Central that Florence and I both spoke about before. And you can scroll through here. You can read about, again, the main objectives that I had mentioned earlier. There's a little bit on each one. And then we have join an existing NSDC chapter. So these are the 11 institutional chapters that we currently have in place. So for example, since Scott's here, I will go to Temple University in Pennsylvania. You can click, this will be personalized to your chapter, of course. So there will be a little bit about when it was founded. There will be a request to join, a little form. So if anyone, maybe say whoever asked the question, say that you're the leader of the chapter, but there's a person at your school who doesn't necessarily know you, doesn't know how to get in contact with you, they can quickly fill out this short Google form that asks a little bit about themselves, and I connect the two of you. And then some about their chapter activities and projects, anything that you want to promote. Again, we update it for you. And then your chapter leadership is listed here. There's Scott and his LinkedIn, and a little bit more there. And then of course, our stay connected with us at the bottom. We also have the regional chapters in place. Again, if you're not associated with an institution, you can join the Midwest chapter, Northeast, South, or West. There's a little bit more information about each in here. You can find your state on the map. And again, you can join directly into a Slack channel that will be updated with opportunities that are located in the Midwest region, and also join the chapter form here. And then if you're interested in starting your own, there's a section that step-by-step breaks it down, a quick interest form. And then once you fill that out, you get an email from me. I send you a nice slide deck that breaks everything down for you, what we offer to you, the benefits of becoming a chapter. If you'd like, we can set up a virtual meeting and I can go through the slide deck with you. We can have a whole conversation about what you're looking for. And then after that, you fill out a quick chapter application form, like an official application form that just asks you some information that we then turn into your web page, like who is your leadership, things like that. And then you get a very nice virtual certificate from me with a bunch of colors on it and a nice gold badge. And you can share it wherever you like, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on your school's webpage, things like that. You can share it around. So it's definitely really interesting. And we have some optional chapter activities listed here at the bottom of the page.
And I want to thank Scott for giving us these activities. When we first started talking about chapters, like, what do you want to do? He's like, these, like, oh, these should look familiar, Scott. And we even have some of the chapters that are looking to have an inauguration of their chapter. And they've asked us to like participate virtually, which is really cool. And they want to get their, professors and students engaged. And so, we're following our community. That's what we do at the hubs. We listen to the community, we follow them and help them get where they want to go.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I'm just wondering about the student chapter. We do have a student organization and we're in Washington, DC. If they choose to join a chapter, do we have to follow the geographic line that we are in the south or can we be in the northeast? I see the Hopkins is in northeast, but Maryland is in the south. Technically.
I know, isn't that interesting? That's what we say too. It feels different, but what we did just to start this, it was just the Northeast, and all of a sudden we had more friends around the country. So we're currently using the map that John showed and that Emily showed with how the 4 hubs break down the states within their region or their hub region. And that's done by US Census population, I think, the way it was done originally. And but everyone can play together, and the regional chapters are really just kind of getting off the ground. It could be that people say, it would be great if it was the whole East Coast. We're all in the same time zone and we collaborate more. So we're open to how people want to do that. As we said, we always listen, and Scott put in the chat too, we listen and help. So, we're open to how you want to do it. You have a friend in Maine and a friend in Florida and you say, hey, we all want to play together. Can't we be together? We could have an East Coast chapter, because we're creating this as we go. But we started with the hub outline because that's who we are. So, but let us know what would make you happy and help you collaborate.
Yeah, I think as Scott said, that's probably one of my favorite things about the NSDC chapter system is how much we can personalize it. That's what like the virtual meeting is for. I hear what you're thinking about, and then we work to kind of figure it out together. So it's really collaborative.
Yeah, and we can be on the phone with the students and the administration and the professors at the same time. Like with Scott, we actually had a professor we were working with, and then there was an admin person, like a person that's in the staff role at the university that makes sure that he was dotting all his I's and crossing all his T's and stuff like that. And so we can work with, whatever's important. Does that answer your question, Ed of DC?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Sure, yeah, and just reach out. We're very friendly and we'll try to help. Great question. Okay, T-minus 3 minutes. I think we did it.
Yay.
Great job, everybody. Thank you so much. Shall we depart?
Thank you so much again. This
Thank
was
you so much for this opportunity.